Hey everybody, Jimmy with the Triple C Collective here for another commentary track. We're bringing you Visions Volume 2, Episode 3 in the Stars, presented by Punk Robot Studios. And gotta say, really love this episode. Everything about Visions has been like exactly what I've always wanted it to be, with with like great animation, great stories, and it all really feeling as a piece within the Star Wars canon. This was a great one. Punk robots from Chile in South America. So that was really cool. And without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to go ahead and dive in. Uh, this episode starts with like this open world, and when you look at it, it looks very much so the animation style of it, of like a claymation kind of stop motion animation style. It really just kind of looks and feels like that with the movements and everything. It's very fluid and good. It's not like clunky or anything, but it just has that like feel to it, which was so great. I love like claymation, as they also call it. Like, it's so good. It's so cool to see that stuff. But we've got this like very dark, gray, bleak looking like area, almost like pollution kind of, or like remnants of like a large fire or something. Like, it's just like smoky and dark and bleak and bleh. But then you get this like little bits of color and stuff, and the color that we do get is completely from our two main characters here, the two sisters, and this is great. We see, the younger sister is like roaming around out there, and hears a TIE fighter coming. So then she stops, puts her hand up in the air, starts doing like the force reach to it to try and stop and crash the TIE fighter that's coming. And the TIE fighter is like moving its light around and firing when it sees random like things, live animals or whatever that they think could that they need to shoot or destroy, giving the implication that these two sisters are really the only ones left, and it turns out that they are there, other than the Empire. And then we get the big sister saving the little sister right before the TIE fighter is like flying over, and right before the light can get to shine on the little sister here. That it's crazy. It's just awesome. The big sister just comes out, tackles her, and like just rolls into like this little like hollowed out like part of a tree basically, and they're able to just hang out there. Then we get their long trek back to their house, to their home, which is really cool. You get to see a lot of really great. If I'm being honest, all of these episodes, all most of the Visions Volume 1 and 2, if they have to travel across like land or something, they do it in this montage thing, and it's really great because it allows these, at least in Volume 1, all these different anime studios to either stick with like very anime like styles, and in here it allows different countries throughout the world now to put in kind of iconic landscapes and stuff that their world is in, again, like building in and bringing in all of these different things into the Star Wars world. It's really cool. So like, even in this, the Punk Robot people in the filmmaker focus, they talk about going to Patagonia, and that's the southernmost point in South America, and that's where like a bunch of like their First Nations of like Latin America and stuff, and still the native people of Patagonia are still like there, and despite having like colonialism like happen to them and everything, they weren't all completely wiped out. Um, and that's a little bit of what we get a little bit more of like as a story. We get to their home now. We get to the sister, the older sister, Kotin, and Tachina is the little sister. We actually don't learn their names in this episode until like almost at the end, which is actually pretty great. And something that they do pretty regularly in these shows, because I think with these shorts, like not giving them names and just like being so into these stories kind of gives you that extra level of like they're kind of nailing this stuff, because a name, like at this point, a name doesn't matter. You just care about these people that are on your screen, these characters that they're giving you. And even if you just refer to them as big sister or little sister before their names are revealed, like it's still great. I don't know. But yeah, they're home. We get that whole truck getting home to their camp is beautiful. We see so many great colors and so many great like landscapes and stuff. And like it's not like bright colors, like, because again this world is very bleak. It's a lot of dark and grays and then like and whites and blacks and stuff. But it's like still like really beautifully like done and put together and everything. Despite all of that, you get some water that's a little bit green and stuff that you see from the poison and whatnot. And then we get to these two rocks that are split, and it's where we see the young sister take the rest of her water and start painting. And what we see on the rock is then she puts her hand and takes like a blow dart, like I guess blow dart blower, whatever, and blows the paint all up on her hand, and then it like spider webs out all over the rocks. And then we get the origin basically of like what happened here. They had their mother, they had a whole village, they had a whole bunch of people. The empire came in, started taking their resources, poisoning their water, building that factory. Eventually there was a war, like a rebellion that was led by her mother. Tachina gives the hints at the idea that that her mom had the Force, but and like could have been a Jedi, or not a Jedi, like definitely Force sensitive, because like they show in the pictures on there her mom moving rocks by just like moving her hand around, just like Jedi or Force sensitive people do. And so, but you can tell no Jedi have really been here, because nobody knows like what a lightsaber or anything is. It doesn't seem like that. Now, to be fair, we also find out that during that rebellion, their mother, not an AT-AT, but another mini walker, basically, I forget what it's called. And so her mother faces off with that and is ultimately killed. Then the rest of like the TIE fighters and the ships that they had, basically guarding the area, go to like the village and the planet and kill everybody. So that's what we see then at the beginning, is that they're still doing those patrols for people, making sure that they really did get everyone. And then, oh man, that was like, it sucks. It sucks seeing that for these two little girls. It sucks that they have to go through this. It sucks that like older sister is like a non-believer to like the Force and the special power, because she sees it as like her mom went up there, tried using that power, and it didn't help her because her mom didn't come back at all. And it's they the from that inspiration though, from that original battle and stuff, the little sister's like, we could break into the factory, and or well no I'm sorry the big sister's like, I've got to break into the factory, get clean water and good water for us, get refreshments, so that we can continue living and continue fighting the good fight. And Kotin, or like the little sister Tachina, then is like, looking in between the two rocks. There's a nice little like split there, and it's like, mom's still out there. She's still watching us. Just because we can't see her doesn't mean that she's not there. And Kotin's like, well, she's not here. She's not there. We're totally alone, and there's nobody here but us, is what Katina is saying to Tachina. And Tachina's like, no, they're out there, they're watching us. We just gotta, beat the Empire and, destroy it and destroy the factory, and we'll be able to do this. And Koten's like, you're gonna stay here. I'm gonna go break into the factory like we do to get some more water, and then I'll come back. And Tachina's like, no, I want to go. Ultimately, Koten, basically beats her sister in a little skirmish that they have, and Koten goes off into a raft and starts going over to the little like waterway that has like the Imperial sign on it, which is a really neat thing that they did there. And she just unscrews one of the bars there and gets in. And then we're in the water purification factory. The whole sneaking up thing is great, and getting in there. This is where it all kind of starts picking up a little bit in this. And Koten is able to put her hands in one of the containers, take a drink of water, and then take her hose, stick it in there because she has a big water cooler basically on her back, for water for them. And it's really great. It's really awesome to see all of that. And I really loved the next part that happens is that we get the then big woo 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 big old alarms and everything start going off, and Coden's like, oh my god, are they coming for me? She sees that nobody's noticed her yet, but obviously the clock's a ticking for her. But who does she see that they have? Her sister, Tachina. Come on, girl. She got caught. She didn't listen to her sister, so now they're there. And Tachina then is basically running to go, and our Koden is basically running to go get Tachina, try and get her, try and save her. As the alarm is going off, we see they're kind of beating her and poking her a little bit and whatnot. The Koden actually does get a chance to sneak up on two of these troopers that are in this factory, or two of these Imperial factory workers, and they start tasing each other. And then the big sister Koden, she gets tased and is knocked down. And Tachina then gets a really great opportunity to tase the dude in the back, and gives Koden just a few minutes or a few seconds to be able to get out and whatnot. They get up onto these molten lava containers, molten metal containers, and you even see Tachina brace herself back a little bit, and then she is Koden's let's go, we're on our way out, let's go, we got our water, let's go. And Tachina's no, we have to destroy this place, we have to get rid of them, we can do this, we can do this together. And so Tachina then slides down, as the conveyor belt's going by, slides down a pole, goes down, and then is standing again in front of the biggest water cooler out there, doing her little force grab and everything. Then we get the different Imperial troopers. For sure they're different looking, stormtroopers, all white helmet and everything. They were different than these factory workers that we saw earlier that were in a yellow, or I'm sorry, an orange and white kind of suit, where these guys are all in all white. They kind of look a little bit similar to the throne room guards too, because they have kind of long garbs out there. But yeah, these people then are coming to take Tachina and everything. And then we see the head woman running this place is throw her. And then they go and take her to throw her over the edge and throw her to her death. And super high, it's a fall, it's quite a big fall. Survival rate is not high, is what I would call it. Or she could just drown, because it could be hitting cement basically from that height, hitting the water despite it being water or whatever. But yeah, it'll be interesting to it's bad, it is bad. And so now she's getting ready to be pulled onto this platform. Koden is running after Tachina now. She's got in her way. Koden's come down off the molten lava conveyor. She beats a couple of guards with her spinning awesome Donnie from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles bow staff that she's got going on. That also has the Nightwing Skremna stick ends of a little bit of electricity in them, which is sweet stuff. I like it. I love it. I like that bow staff and everything with it. It was really sweet. Koden is running. We see the look back, and then bam, Tachina's dropped. Koden runs, reaches over, and you see them just graze fingers, and Koden does it herself, does the force grab, her attempts the force grab, but she is successful. She is able to save her sister. She stops her sister, and then her sister's able to reach out her hand, and then she pulls her just a little bit enough just to grab it. They get up there. Bam, we've got the two sisters hugging. It's this beautiful, beautiful sequence. I love it. We get the Minnie Walker released from this, and it's like very similar to like the mother's death and whatnot. But instead of just like sitting there, the sisters grab hands together as one, and they're Coden's like basically force is now flowing through Tachina, because like to be fair, Tachina believed, but like she might be too young to tap in to that like it's actually just a neat thing that like she believed so much, she believed her mom had it so much, and but it took like the belief of her sister maybe in that moment. That's where like the connection happens with her, because they're and they're doing it together, they're holding hands and everything. It's beautiful. I love it. It was so great. They do that, they like as they're doing that, they're like the Imperial kind of like stop and freeze for a second. They're like, what the hell is going on? They're not doing anything to the Walker. The Walker kind of looks in the biggest container with all of the water in the place, like the biggest holding tank of it. They rip that down, which causes the ultimate chain effect of destroying the whole factory. The Walker gets taken out. The sisters are taken off the platform from that water cascading down and basically making a waterfall off that platform. The other tanks then that they have there are getting wiped out and knocking over, causing all kinds of destruction and explosions. And it's the platform, the factory, everything is destroyed there. They're in the water below. We see Coden, reach up one more time with her hand and everything, and then we get like a basically white screen, and then we see Tachina in Coden's arms. Tachina's eyes are closed, and she wakes up, and they find out that they're okay. They see that like the clouds and everything are starting to dissipate, because they actually weren't clouds, they were just factory smog. So all that kind of starts to dissipate. They go back. They're back at their rocks. They're looking at, because one of the things that they said, because they kept using the water to repaint it, they need the water to show the paint and to be able to do that. But at the twilight light that hits the rocks, that will continually regenerate it without the water to be able to see it. So then at this point we get that. We see those two rocks light up beautifully with all of these different handprints and paintings and stuff showing on, and then we see a big star in the middle of the two pillars, which is obviously their mother, and then we get two more stars popping out underneath it that are very highlighting, and that's their representative of them. And Tachina and Coden, they're able to continue on now and maybe be able to maybe find others and not have to worry about constant checks from the Empire of like running different TIE fighters and stuff here. And one thing I gotta say, there are certain points throughout this, there's like certain music that sounds very much so like the Zelda theme, and that are like music from Zelda, and that's not a knock, like it's actually beautiful and I love it, because it works so well in this story with the way that the story that they told, how they're telling it in the stars and all of that, like it works. It's so good. I just freaking love it. As always, I want to talk about the filmmaker focus here for a few minutes before we wrap up. Again, PUNKROBOT Studios from Chile, in South America. It's actually a really great story that they were telling there. They're a family owned studio, basically, that Antonia and Mary are cousins. Oscar married Antonia, and Pato married Mary. And I thought that was really sweet that, these two girl cousins with their significant others started this animation studio in Chile. and it's great. You know, Oscar, the guy who directed this and also like one of the co-writers for it, um, he talks about what Star Wars meant to him. His father died at like the age of 3, and then him seeing Luke Skywalker, not knowing who his dad is, or have any understanding of who his dad is, or know his dad or anything, something that was like really resonant with him. And that's what this story is. It's about these two sisters like dealing with the after, like they got to know their mother, but they don't have their mother anymore. So that's a little bit similar to Oscar. Granted, he talks about being 3 with that with when his father passes, and like so that was all very like it was all very heartfelt. And then when I heard that, I was like, oh my god, that is all over this story when you watch it and you see it. It's great. He also left the two sisters there because he wanted they to have a story about that gives hope and resilience in like surviving and stuff. It was awesome. They talked about a research trip that they did to the southernmost point in of the South American continent, and that's the Patagonia area. And they took all kinds of different pictures and stuff there because it's got everything. It's got snow. Like in this filmmaker focus, you see them in snow, you see them in like a summer springtime and stuff. So it's great. Like they got all kinds of different pictures of like shrubs, the area, the mountain, or not even mountains, but just the landscapes and stuff, and like all of it. It was really interesting to note that they said that like well, first off, Tachina and Coden's story is inspired by the native people of Patagonia, and then they took the look and stuff of their like garb and like the world and stuff, and like everything that you kind of see of like even the rock paintings and how they did that from the First Nations of Latin America, which I thought was really really cool. And like the sisters are kind of like a yin and yang. You got Conan, who's kind of like cold and tough and like you know in that sense, and then you've got China, who is like a sweet, funny, like daffy kind of character, but has a lot of heart and like means what she means, and it's great. It was really cool to find out again, just like in episode 1, that the Chile voice actors, the voice actors from Chile here that they had, also do the English voices for him as well. And I thought that that's really cool, keeping those actors the same way, because even in volume 1, what they did for Visions in like America, we had Temu Morrison, who played Jango Fett and then has now been Boba Fett and Book of Boba Fett, and basically like taken on that role in the live action stuff. More recently, they had him for the American stuff, but when they released Visions in Japan, they had the longtime voice of who's done all of the Boba Fett stuff in Japan for those voice actors voice their version of Boba Fett in Visions Volume 1. So I thought that was really cool. And in episode 1, I also liked that they from Madrid, Spain, Alguri, that they had both the master and the apprentice in their Lola and Lord Kutu, both the Spanish voice actors there also did the English voicing of those same characters. So I thought that was always really cool and really awesome. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I am Jimmy with the Triple C Collective. This has been a commentary track for Visions Volume 2, Episode 3, In the Stars, from PUNKROBOT Studios from Chile, South America. I hope you all stay safe. Thank you for joining me, and please like and subscribe to this video, and as always, may the Force be with you.